I opened my eyes, but, there was absolutely no difference whether they were open or closed. The darkness was the exact same. And I'm not talking about a lack of light. It was a darkness that actually had a physical weight to it, a darkness pressing down right against my face, just slow and completely suffocating.
I mean, this isn't the kind of darkness you get in your bedroom when you draw the curtains at night. No, this is a total void. A darkness you can literally feel touching your skin. It's something you inhale deep into your lungs with every single shallow, trembling breath you take. It has a presence. Crazy as it sounds, it even has a taste. The taste of dirt. It completely coated my tongue. So I moved my head in this void, and my skull immediately hit something hard. I moved my legs, and they struck something totally unyielding too. I reached my hand straight up into the blackness, solid wood. I reached to my sides, solid wood. I reached down, just more wood. Now, my heart hadn't even started beating properly yet. It was basically asleep, just like my conscious mind had been a few moments ago. But then, the realization hit me. It was like the sudden, violent electric shock, completely without warning. Thump, 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 getting faster and faster. It was beating so incredibly hard I could actually feel it in my teeth. The sweat began to just pour down, stinging my eyes, but blinking into the pitch black obviously changed absolutely nothing. I am inside a box. I was frantically trying to piece together the last thing that happened. Was I at a funeral? Was I medically dead? Did somebody actually bury me alive? I opened my mouth and I screamed as loud as I could. But there was no release. The sound just violently slammed against the wooden walls and bounced straight back into my own ears. It felt exactly like screaming inside a sealed glass jar where only I could hear the horrific echoes. Nobody up above could hear me. Nobody was coming to dig.
My left shoulder was pressed completely firm against the wood. My right shoulder, same thing, pressing against the wood. If I turned my head even a fraction of an inch, the tip of my nose literally brushed the ceiling. The air was rapidly turning so hot, thick and sticky with the smell of pine and my own sweat. I was burning up, but the box was so impossibly tight I couldn't even bend my elbows enough to pull off my sweat-soaked jacket.
We talk about fear a lot, but true fear, it isn't the jump scare from a horror movie. True fear is this hauntingly calm realization. It's knowing exactly how you are going to die within the hour. No mystery to it, no hope. You're lying under 6 feet of earth, and every single breath you take is slowly, agonizingly stealing the finite amount of oxygen you have left. But, that quiet panic didn't last very long. The truce ended. This cosmic, almost furious anger just completely took over. Pure survival instinct kicked in. I started screaming at the darkness. I was cursing the universe, cursing the gravedigger who just nonchalantly threw dirt on my chest and probably went off to eat his lunch, cursing the carpenter who built this thing so damn well. I remember spitting at the timber. I will break you. I will live.
I started striking the side of the casket, fast, frantic. I was driven entirely by this massive rush of adrenaline and just a primal desperation to exist. I swung my right hand in the suffocating dark, pounding my fist against the wall. Once, twice, 10 times, 20 times. I was absolutely going to break out of there, even if I had to literally dig through the dirt with my bare teeth.
But the wood was so cold and thick and completely unmoving. It didn't yield a single millimeter. I mean, it was built perfectly to withstand tons of crushing dirt, right? So my frantic blows were just met with this stubborn, heavy silence that honestly felt like it was mocking my effort.
And then the adrenaline faded. A sickening crunch echoed in that tiny space. I had completely pulverized my own fingers. The pinky, the ring finger, the middle finger, just snapped like dry twigs. I could feel the warm, sticky blood gathering under my nails, coating the wood. I gripped my shattered hand with my good one, screaming, but not in anger anymore. It was pure, unfiltered agony. I was like a child who had just touched a flame for the first time. As I lay there sobbing in pain, my heart suddenly just stopped. I dropped my breath to a terrified, dead whisper. Did something actually just move? Just inches above my left ear, this sound cut through the heavy silence. A tiny, terrifying scratching sound.
Scavengers in the dirt. Earthworms. I could literally hear them crawling over the top of the coffin, dragging their bodies right through the heavy earth. Could they smell my sweat? Could they smell the death that was inevitable now? This spine-chilling realization just washed all over me. I wasn't entirely alone down there. This tiny army was out there, just inches away,
patiently waiting for my heart to stop beating so they could finally begin their work.
The physical breakdown in my body brought on this wave of absolute shame. My bladder released involuntarily, pooling right beneath me in the dark. But honestly, worse than the shame was the thirst. It was this paralyzing, maddening thirst that made my swollen tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. I would have given anything, literally everything I owned, just for one single drop of water. I started obsessing over this random memory of a TV commercial, an ice-cold soda popping open, $1 at a local store. Why didn't I just buy it when I had the chance?
As the air thinned out and my breaths became impossibly shallow, drawing in this heavy, cement-like air, the smell of pine and sweat actually started to fade. My dying brain began to involuntarily flood with these fragmented, stolen memories. It was like loose papers caught in a really strong wind. I remembered the cool rain falling outside my high school window as a girl with green eyes smiled at me.
I remembered my wife on our wedding day. She looked so incredibly beautiful in her white dress. I remembered laughing and telling her that forever is a very long time. And then her haunting words echoed right back to me in that dark box. Forever is short with you. And here I was. My forever was ending in a 90 by 60 centimeter box. These were my stolen futures. A red bicycle I learned to ride at age 7, with my mother telling me to get back up when I fell, that pristine white dress, and my newborn son. His head was the size of an orange, with these big, watery blue eyes. The emotional devastation just shattered me. I was never going to teach him how to drive. I'd never see his graduation. I just lay there in the dark, crying without any tears left to shed.
So, does the darkness have a face? Well, as the oxygen dropped to critical levels, my mind started severely hallucinating. Time completely lost its meaning. Minutes felt like decades. The shadows actually started to swirl and form faces, mocking me. I mentally mapped out my entire universe over and over again. 90 centimeters by 60 centimeters. That was my whole cosmos now. And then, strangely enough, the fear just stops. It transitions into this eerie, almost apathetic detachment. And it's not because you suddenly find some deep inner strength. Actually, no. It's just that the human body requires energy to feel terror. And I simply had zero energy left. I didn't even care anymore if a worm got in. I really just wanted my heart to sleep. I actually smiled in the dark. A really dark, surrendered kind of smile. This heavy exhaustion washed over me like a warm blanket. My heartbeat drastically slowed down. Thump, thump, thump. It sounded so distant, almost like it belonged to someone else in another room. "This isn't so bad," I whispered out into the void. I felt myself floating away, like I was escaping the box entirely. I drifted above the coffin, totally free in the air. But then, like a rubber band snapping, I was violently pulled back into my body for one final, agonizingly shallow gasp. It was like trying to swallow a spoonful of air. My heart beat once, paused for 3 long seconds, beat again, and then just nothing. No bright light, no angels, just an absolute cessation of existence, like a television switching off.
Fast forward 100 years. Above ground, the world completely changes, right? Wars are fought, treaties are signed, entire generations live and die, and below ground, the body remains. The clothes slowly dissolve into threads, the flesh turns to the very dust surrounding it, until one day, a construction crew excavating for a new shopping mall strikes something solid, deep in the earth.
The archaeologists come in and clear the dirt. They pry open the cracked, century-old timber. They shine their clinical flashlights right onto the brilliant white bones, discovering the horrible truth of this unknown man from the 21st century. One researcher looks down and whispers, "Look at his hands. His fingers are broken. He tried to escape." It's a terrifying monument to a life stolen, leaving us with one lingering, totally haunting image. Lodged deep in the splintered wood, perfectly preserved after a whole century, was a solitary fingernail. A final testament of a man who just wanted to live. What would you do in the dark?